professional in that. No heavy petting, please. Are you such a dreamer to put? You mean it, yeah?
The troublemaker.
Oh, that's me, yeah.
Oh, that's me.
That's me, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, I know that band. They're the guys who play Creep, right? Oh man, Creep is such a good song.
Yeah, those are the guys who play Creep.
Oh, and Carmen Police too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they play that one too.
Okay, cool.
Well, aren't you going to mention any more of their songs?
I don't know any other songs from them, but those are the only ones that were relevant to me.
Really? You don't know Street Spirit, Paranoid Android, No Surprises, Pyramid Song, There, Reckoner, Idiotech, Bloom, Fake Plastic Trees, True Love Waits, Burn the Witch, and not even High and Dry.
Sorry dude, I'm more of a Coldplay kind of guy.
You do know that Radiohead is Coldplay's main influence, don't you? Their singer even said he would give anything to write something as good as OK Computer.
What's an OK Computer?
Oh, please tell me you didn't just say that. Look, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute, but first, a bit of background. The Oxford native band was formed in 1985 and is composed of 5 members. Tom York, the frontman, Johnny Greenwood, the main guitarist, Colin Greenwood, the bassist, Ed O'Brien, the backup guitarist, and Phil Selway, the drummer. They all met in the same school and went originally by the name of On a Friday, since they all rehearsed their music on a, well, Friday. By 1987, all but one member of the band remained in school, but still practiced on weekends. As they performed several small gigs at bars and pubs, they were getting more noticed by record labels and producers, and eventually got signed by EMI in 1991. At the request of their new label, the band changed their original name from On a Friday to Radiohead, based on the popular Talking Heads song Radiohead.
Talking Heads? Who?
They were one of Radiohead's earliest biggest influences, alongside Joy Division, Queen, Pink Floyd, U2, R.E.M., Pixies, The Smiths, and Sonic Youth.
So basically every 80s band ever.
If it helps you to understand, yes, mainly post-punk bands. In 1992, they released only one single in preparation for their debut album Pablo Honey. That single's name? Creep didn't get much recognition within its first months after its release, as Pablo Honey and the band itself were discarded by many music reviewers as being a Nirvana ripoff, also saying that the album had a huge presence of the grunge style of music that was present in many bands in the early 90s. So many perhaps that it almost killed the genre. Unfortunately, there are other 2 singles from the album Anyone Can Play Guitar, and Stop Whispering, flopped hard. But it wasn't over yet. Creep was getting a lot of attention overseas, getting constant radio play in the USA and Israel, and when MTV broadcasted Creep on their channel, the song rose incredibly fast to the top of almost every American music chart. The unexpected success of the song in the United States had led their label EMI to have Radiohead perform over there constantly over the course of 2 years, which led to a lot of stress and almost making the band reach its breaking point. In fact, after they were done touring, they stopped playing Creep for a number of years, because people who went to their concerts constantly demanded that they play Creep, and when they did, usually more than half of the venue would leave the concert. As soon as they were done touring and returned to the recording studio to work on their second album, there was this huge pressure to create a follow-up to Creep, and a focus for them to not become just another band with a one-hit wonder. After the release of their debut LP in 1993, in 1994, Radiohead released the EP and single My Iron Lung, whose lyrical content referenced the success of their single Creep and how it helped the band sustain a level of fame and importance. The other songs that were featured in the EP, such as The Trickster, Lewis, Mistreated, and Lozenge of Love, gave music listeners a taste of what their follow-up album would be like. They sound good, I'll give them that. The Bends was released in 1995, after much pressure from the label to release it by the end of '94. Critics praised the writing, saying that it was vastly superior than to its predecessor, as so was its mixing of many different instruments and vocal techniques, particularly the falsetto. The difference in the sound was palpable, having been drifted away from that grunge rock sound that emanated from their debut album to a more alternative rock-centric scene. Their 4 main singles, Just, Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry, and Street Spirit, were all huge hits in the UK, but unfortunately failed to succeed in the United States. There are many people today that think this album is Radiohead's best effort in their discography. A year later, they were back in the studio ready to record their next album, their so-called magnum opus. Really? What was it?
Fitter, happier, more productive, comfortable, not drinking too much, regular exercise at the gym, 3 days a week.
OK Computer was the album that completely changed the game in the music industry. One of the first albums to successfully mix alternative rock and electronic genres, the first to tackle the topic of mundane and joyless lives and oppressive governments, and the pinnacle of alt-rock in the 90s. Damn, that must have been quite the album. You've said it. OK Computer has gained an iconic status over the past years and was dubbed as an instant classic by many critics and fans. The album starts off with Airbag, a rock-heavy track with a mixture of political issues and, funnily enough, Christmas bells. It is followed by what also many fans and critics regard as the best song they've ever made, Paranoid Android. exit music was written for the movie Romeo and Juliet and is described by the band as a song that helped them shape and choose the direction of their album. This song is even more depressing than the last two albums combined. Yeah, they really outdid themselves this time, didn't they? Other songs include the popular and soft Karma Police, the unstable and haunting Climbing Up the Walls, the incredibly sad and childlike No Surprises, and finishes it all off with a slow and smoothing track, The Tourist. As a means to distance themselves from making another album in the style of OK Computer and not capturing the same feel and vibe, they decided to change their style of music completely. Did it pay off? I don't know. How does the title Best Album of the 2000s sound to you? They named their next album Kid A. Fans and critics were expecting another rock album like The Bends or OK Computer, but what they got was a completely different style of music and lyrical structure unlike any band I'd ever seen by then. The near absence of electric guitars and drums, and their subsequent replacement in the form of synths and computer-generated sounds, is felt heavily on this album, which drove away many of Radiohead's fans' expectations for a direct sequel to OK Computer, but at the same time brought new fans from many different genres. The album itself let the band expand their creativity and experiment with new and different instruments and sounds, and did so in a revolutionary way. They made over 30 songs during the recording sessions, as 10 of them went to Kid A, 11 of them went on to their next album Amnesiac, and the rest were distributed as B-sides. Amnesiac came out in 2001, and to quote Tom York, "The artwork to Kid A was all in the distance. The fires were all going on the other side of the hill. With Amnesiac, you're actually in the forest while the fire's happening." The album took experimentalism to its max, but in a much more unwelcoming way. Songs like Pyramid Song, and I Might Be Wrong, were passable, but ultimately, other songs like You and Whose Army, and Like Spinning Plates, did absolutely nothing to help the band's older fans. From this album on, Radiohead managed to take this newfound experimentalism and creativity and use it on their future work, like Hail to the Thief and The King of Limbs. In the end, the band remains as one of the greatest of all time because of their immense talent and drive to always create something new with each and new album.